Thunder bombs. West still has thunder bombs.
There's a frog riding a car. There's a frog in a car.
What is he doing? He's just driving around town?
Welcome, gamers, to Super Beard Bowl Season 2. Each month, we're doing an all-new 8-episode series complete with a beginning and an end, as voted on by you, our loyal viewers. Without paying a single penny, everyone who watches will be able to vote on one of 4 show ideas, and once you narrow it down from 4 to 2, the Beard Bowl Patreon tier will then choose between the top 2 for which show gets made into a full 8-episode series. This month, the winning series is Beard Bros Movie Reviews. Brett, Jirard, and Alex watch and review movies that you guys thought they might enjoy. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
The next public vote begins Monday, September 14.
So until then, just sit back, relax, and enjoy another incredible episode of Super Beard Bowl.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Beard Bros movie review. This time it's Brett and myself, and we're talking about Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun Li. Brett, I'm so glad that you and I got to watch this movie.
I don't believe you. Why would you say the lie like that?
I'm just, you and I know a lot about Street Fighter lore and storytelling and
all right.
And me knowing, for those of you guys who don't know, Brett, I don't know if you care about this or like you want to brag about this, but I will brag on your behalf.
Okay.
Brett Bayonne made 2 incredible Street Fighter films.
Oh, thank you.
They're so good. They're so good that both of those films are so much shorter than both Street Fighter the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Street Fighter Chun-Li.
Mm-hmm.
That I would highly recommend to go watch his films 10 times before you even consider watching either of these movies. Yeah, and Brett, where do we start? We
should probably let people know what this is. All right, so this is Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun Li. It came out in, I believe, 2009. I might be wrong about that.
Let's double check. I'm checking right now.
But what's really important, guys, is that you have to understand that this is the second Hollywood's second attempt at making a big budget Street Fighter feature film. And I think the reason they made it is because you have to understand that Street Fighter went away as a franchise for many years. The last big Street Fighter wasn't even that big at the time. It's become a cult classic now, but it's Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. That was back in 1999, right? There were no other mainline Street Fighter games after that until Street Fighter 4 hit arcades in 2008. That's basically 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of to celebrate that and to celebrate, like they coincided the home release of Street Fighter 4 hit around the exact same time as this movie. They totally promoted it.
Which is, and you know that mostly because the Street Fighter logo for the film is the Street Fighter logo from Street Fighter 4.
I remember going to the Street Fighter 4 launch party in like downtown LA, and people from the movie were there, like stars of the movie. They were like, "You guys gotta go see it." Clarke Duncan was on stage, just like, "Oh man, Balrog's kicking all kinds of ass in this movie." And I was very dubious. I never saw the movie. I've never seen this movie.
I have not either.
But here's all you gotta know of the plot. It's very fucking thin. It's so thin. I'll get to it. Chun-Li's dad. What? No, it's not even that. It's that her mom. It's literally her dad. Nope, it's not that either. The plot is the premise is like. Like a young adult Chun-Li, her mom dies, and that day she gets like a scroll, like a mysterious scroll that tells her to go to Thailand, and she does it. That's literally the premise. That is literally the premise of the movie.
Yes.
Okay. Jirard, the only thing that I have to say right now about this movie is that when we started this series, I knew it would be very easy for us to like spend 20, 30 minutes a pop shitting on movies. And, I didn't want to do that because I feel like, enough people on the internet do that. I wanted to, I don't know, think a little bit, right?
Sure.
And I'm not going to shit on this movie. I mean, I'm going to shit on this movie, but I don't want to just like be like, here's all the things I didn't like. I hate that shit, right?
You want to start with the good, then focus on the bad.
Oh no, I don't have enough to start with the good. I can't do that. Instead, I'm gonna let you know what I have. Right? I wrote down notes as I always do. What I have are just a bunch of questions.
Sure.
I have so many questions, Jirard.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
So
that's all.
I want to hear these questions.
Okay. Before I delve into my questions, I want to know overall. So I told you how I felt. I fucking hated this movie.
Yes.
How did you feel?
I didn't hate it, but I really also didn't like it. Like I felt like,
hold on, if you didn't hate this film, what movie have you hated before? I'm not saying you have to feel like me. I'm genuinely curious what you've hated before in the past.
I didn't like this movie. I didn't hate what I saw. I think I hated what they did more than anything.
What does that mean?
Like there was a lot of like, even I'm a big fan of collaboration in group projects and just trying to at least take something that's not very good and putting in the most effort to make it good.
Okay.
This was a film that had a decent budget for what they were trying to accomplish, and it looked like they didn't even try, and that makes me more mad than anything. Like what they tried to focus on was the action and the fighting, which is like, that's to me someone going, oh yeah, it's a fighting game, so obviously it has to focus on the fighting, which is fine. But to me, what makes Street Fighter great are the characters and the reasons to fight and the point of combat and why these people have their moves. And
let me ask you this: did you expect to get any of that in this film?
Going into it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I didn't expect to get any.
So you weren't disappointed.
I wasn't disappointed. I was surprised by the choices that were made. It's like watching an improv scene and being like, that's an interesting choice. I would like a new choice, please. Like that's how it felt. It was like, wow, that was an option. New choice. Let's try again. New choice. That's what I kept feeling every time I saw something that just rubbed me the wrong way with this film. And in the end, I was just more in shock about the references and the emphasis on those references more than the plot itself.
The plot? What plot? What plot? No.
I mean, that's what we're here to talk about, Brett. Tell me some of your questions. I want to hear you. For those of you guys at home, I wrote notes in the beginning. I was writing a bunch of notes last night, and then I just stopped. I put them down. I deleted my notes and said, I have to. If I write any more, this will be a podcast for 2 hours, and I don't want to stomp on Brett and his insight or just ramble for too long. So, Brett, go with your questions.
Well, the first couple things. The first couple things I wrote weren't questions. Eventually, they transitioned to a bunch of questions. Yeah. But something you guys gotta understand, the movie opens up with like Chun Li learning wushu kung fu from her father, which is fine. Very early, I wrote down everything that was said in narration could have just been shown on screen. I went at a certain point. I started there was a lot of narration in this film from what's her name, Kristin Kreuk. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kristin Kreuk.
Kristin Kreuk. Kreuk.
There's a lot of narration from Chun Li in this film, and every time it popped up, I replayed that scene in my head without the narration. I'm like, yep, that could have been fine without narration. Totally unnecessary.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And that's when I realized very early. My third note I wrote down was, this movie thinks I'm an idiot. This movie thinks its audience are idiots. And oh boy, does that rub me the wrong way when this is, guys, this is one of those movies where it's very clear that the filmmakers are go like, we need to make this more apparent. You know what I mean?
We need to put the breadcrumbs very specifically because we don't think people will go the extra mile to understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's just, there's no subtlety in this movie at all.
Not at all.
The thing that made me write that down very early on, like before we even, like it's when Chun Li's young, like 10 or 11 years old, and here comes in Bison into her home to kidnap her dad, and Balrog is there as M. Bison's enforcer, played by Michael Clarke Duncan, and which is great. Balrog breaks through the window. Chun-Li's dad throws something at him. Balrog catches it and smiles. Off camera, you hear Chun-Li's dad go, Balrog. And that's it. And so very clearly, I'm like, all right, this movie thinks I'm an idiot. Because like, that is only there so people... so like fucking dum-dum fans in the audience who know exactly what Jirard's doing.
It's more like, black guy, wait.
Right.
Wait, black guy, wait. He said it. It's Balrog.
It's Balrog. Great. Like,
yeah, it's Balrog.
Remember that guy I told you about that was in the theater when we saw Logan? And you,
my man
Sabretooth. Like, that, it's for dudes like that who aren't who don't like think that much and just want the dopamine hit of like, oh, I know that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that was for. And that's who they made this movie for. And it insulted me. Then the movie started. There are many. Did you know? I don't know if you noticed this, Jirard. Did you notice there's a lot of flashbacks in this movie?
Oh, I would say that about 15% of this film is constant references and flashbacks to what was established in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
No, they'll show you a scene literally 4 minutes later. They'll show you like a flashback to when Chun Li remembers something from that scene. And I'm like, I know, dude, I was there.
I just saw it literally 3 minutes ago.
It's, once again, this movie thinks I'm really fucking dumb. I knew that we were in trouble when very early Chun Li goes to her dying mother. And I don't remember what the fuck Chun Li says she's gonna do. But her mother's like, there you go again. Always standing up. Just like your
father.
Yeah, just like your father. Always standing up when it's not easy to stand up, which is a recurring line and theme in this film, I guess, of Chun-Li being tenacious and persevering. But I'm like, you literally just had a character say that out loud. Like, if instead of showing us and establishing in Chun-Li's normal everyday life that she is someone who perseveres and stands up when it's not easy, you just had someone tell us. You had a dying lady tell us so that we'd believe her. Like, it was lazy. It's so lazy. They want to establish Chun-Li as someone who's strong. Like, what's the best way to do that? Just have someone say it, and that makes it true. You know?
There's two things in the beginning of this movie that I had a really hard time getting over.
Okay.
And one I want to talk about is race. And two I want to talk about is invincibility. So when it comes to race, the woman who plays Chun-Li, do you think that she's Chinese?
Kristin Kreuk, I believe, is of mixed ethnicity. I don't know what those ethnicities are.
Sure. So I'm not trying to be like Chun-Li needed to be a Chinese woman.
Okay, let's talk about it.
That's not what I'm trying to insinuate.
What are you saying?
But I'm saying that there are other Chinese actresses that probably could have done a better role because of their heritage.
So it sounds like you are saying Chun-Li needed to be Chinese.
Not necessarily Chinese, but well, I guess I was confused, right? Because you had her dad, who was obviously a Chinese man, and then you had her mom, who was a white person, right? And then that to me was a justification. That means that the daughter is going to be mixed, obviously, right? But like in the end, I didn't really feel like Chun-Li was proud of her heritage or really in a part of her own heritage, especially because her father is a master of the wushu arts.
Wait. What makes you think she wasn't proud of her heritage?
Well, it's not that she wasn't like, I'm ashamed to be Chinese.
Okay.
It was more like I had a hard time. I don't know. It felt like, I don't know how to describe it.
Is it just that like seeing a somewhat white person play Chun-Li rub you the wrong way? Is that what we're getting at?
I guess so. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is a race thing in that way. And I don't know. Well, I think it's because the movie establishes early on that Chun Li is Chinese by showing their daughter be very Chinese. Like they had a very Chinese daughter when she was a teenager.
You're
she
saying
was very
like
Chinese.
the person who played the younger versions of Chun Li looked way more Chinese.
There was four versions of Chun Li in this movie. 3 of them were young women, young girls, and then there was the main actor who was Chun Li.
Right.
And 3 of the 4 very much were Chinese, and then like the woman who Kristin Kreuk wasn't in that way to me in terms of how it translated. And I don't know, and like I guess in my mind, like if she is going to be Chun Li, then they shouldn't have cast the other 3 girls to be Chinese. They should have cast them more attuned to the mixed race they were trying to go for.
Hey man, I think they probably tried. Like I'm not forgiving them or anything, but I think what happened is that they tried and just didn't care enough, much like the rest of this movie.
Right. And to go along with that, Chun-Li's whole thing in the beginning was she was going to be a pianist, right? She was like, I want to be a pianist and learn, and my dad wants me to learn how to be a pianist. And I'm going to be a concert pianist for my profession. Yep. But then when she sees her dad practicing Mushu, she's like, oh, whoa. I want to Wushu rather. I said Mushu, sorry. I really want Mushu pork, you guys. So when she starts learning, she learns for a few years, but then her dad is gone. Yep. Her dad's gone for what, 10 plus years, something like that?
Yeah, like 10 years, yeah.
Yeah. So did she continue to practice? Did she have another master? Did she?
I guess she did.
Because then from when she's like 16 through the rest of the movie, she just has God mode. Like nothing stops her. She's just like the best martial artist in Bangkok, and no one can stop her.
It's true.
And not that I like need to see more flashbacks of her training, but the reason why I bring this up is because they introduce Gen as like her master for her to train. Yeah. And he doesn't do all that much other than show her that she can summon a little chi fireball from Street Fighter the games. Like that's what it comes down to. And there's no point in her having the blindfold on her head. There's no point in her going on like missions. Like she does mission.
There's so many.
She doesn't.
There's so many questions. Like you're absolutely right. Like there is no point to a lot of this stuff. The whole thing is pointless. Like, all right. So listen. Are you ready for the questions, Jirard?
Yes. Go. Okay. I'm ready.
Do you remember why Chun-Li goes to Bangkok in the first place?
Yes.
Why?
She is given a scroll.
By whom?
By a mystery person.
It's anonymous at first, but then we find out who sent it eventually, right?
I believe it was Gen who sent it.
That's right. Okay. Why?
Correct.
Why?
Because Gen thought it was time to finally have Chun-Li take down the Shadaloo.
Great. Why? Why today?
Why today?
Why today?
Why? There is no why today.
Why did he send this? Why did he send a mysterious cryptic ass scroll when he could have literally just gone to her fucking house?
Not to mention the fact, one, why did he make her get rid of her whole life?
Yep. But yeah, there's like the scroll said to abandon everything in my life, and I'm like, it did. Okay, I don't know.
And yeah, why did she get rid of everything?
She abandons all her worldly possessions to go live on the streets of Bangkok.
Right,
because supposedly the scroll tells her.
So to go along with that, she left her home, her childhood home.
I fucking hated that scene so much.
She leaves her home, right? She's like, I'm going away. And she like says goodbye to like all of her like butlers and like nurses and stuff.
All of her servants that we'd have never seen.
Have no connection to whatsoever. Don't even know why they're here. More importantly, there is cloth over everything in the background. So to me, what I thought was Chun-Li sold her house, fired all of her staff, and just was like, I'm going to go be homeless in Bangkok. Like, that's what I thought she was doing.
Yeah.
But really what she was doing is, I am leaving, and the rest of you are going to take care of the homes. Like, that's what you're going to do. If that's the case, why did all the furniture have white moving sheets as if, like, she's selling it or moving away, because she went to Bangkok with nothing.
Right.
With nothing. She has a bag that has clothes, and that's her giving up her worldly possessions to become whatever it may be.
You're right. But the real question still remains, why did Gin have her do that?
Why was Gen played by Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat?
Hey, Robin Shou's a G.
I love Robin Shou. Don't get it twisted. I love Robin Shou. It was a very specific choice to have Robin Shou play Gen in this film.
You think they're referencing Mortal Kombat? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. They were like, hey, Mortal Kombat made a movie. Remember that? We got Liu Kang as Gen in this film. What now?
All right. Let's see here. My next question was...
Megan gave us a warning. Sorry, Megan, we have to go off. This is going to be, we have so much to get through.
Yeah, fuck this noise. No, we're going to address these questions. Listen.
Yeah, let's address them.
I said, why is she doing this? So basically what we were talking about with her leaving, right? She's following what a fucking scroll says because her mom died and she's a bored, rich, like half white girl. Like that's what I wrote. Like her mom dies and then like, she gets that, she has no, like her dad gets kidnapped 10 years ago. Right? And she goes on with her life. Makes sense. Like, what are you going to do? She becomes like a successful concert pianist. And then like she gets the scroll. She ignores it. And then her mom dies of like a disease. And then she's like, guess I better do what the scroll says. That's literally what the movie is. It makes no sense. Here's what I wrote. Here's a positive thing. I wrote Chris Klein is the best part of this whole fucking movie. He's incredible.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
I don't agree with him being Nash, though.
What does that mean?
Him. Why did he have to be Charlie Nash? Like, why was it just felt like he might as well just been like, they call me Blanca, and then just take like his hand in green paint and just go, my code name's Blanca.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
he wasn't Charlie Nash. He was Charlie Nash only in name, but he was hamming it up so much every time he was on screen. I'm like, I'm about to see some shit. You know what I mean?
And him and the detective had this
Sea Viper,
weird.
yeah.
That was supposed to be Sea Viper?
Basically, yeah.
I never for a second thought that was Sea Viper.
Kind of.
I just thought it was just too. I just thought it was the Bangkok chief police with Interpol. Like that's what I thought it was. I had no idea it was Sea Viper.
I don't know if she's supposed to be Sea Viper, but she shares Sea Viper's first name, Maya. And like Sea Viper was a very new character at the time, so I don't know.
Okay. I think my favorite actor in this film was Michael Clarke Duncan.
Oh yeah, he's great.
I think he just was like he's like the whole time you saw him on screen, he always had that Michael Clarke Duncan smile,
the grin,
yeah, the grin. And so I just was like,
meet us at the Port Authority. You're looking for the white rose.
I love that he's invincible the whole movie. He's just like, I'm Balrog. Like,
yeah.
I felt like if you just heard, like, I would love to see a recut of that film of like, as he's walking in, you just hear Balrog's theme quietly play to like give you like, here he comes. Like,
yeah,
just
they may as well have like
theme.
put a fucking super title on the screen when he showed up, like, hey kids, it's Balrog.
Oh, I have one note I want to talk about.
Oh,
Brett.
please.
Every shot in the opening of this film for the first 30 minutes, the camera swivels around nonstop. Like literally, they're when they're in the kitchen in Chun Li's house,
right,
to when Balrog, to when Bison like opens up the locket of like his wife and daughter.
Right.
Like it's one thing to like, guys, filmmakers, you can simply cut. You don't have to have this like. Every shot was like this in the beginning, and I don't know why.
You know, action.
It's just right, but like there's no fighting, there's no like pacing, there's no like dramatic story beats. It's just the camera is just literally shifting around the character. And it's not like they're doing a Matrix flip. It's not like they're doing a whole bunch of it's just they're just revealing what's in their pocket. Like I didn't understand why there was so much
because there's no substance, so they have to supplement that with flash.
With camera movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, go back to your questions, Brett.
Okay, so listen. I wrote down. I see plenty of movies that fail to establish the characters' normals, like they're normal every day. I see that all the time. I said, but I've rarely ever seen a movie that fails to both establish a normal and an inciting incident. This movie is special. Like, not only were they like, we don't know who Chun Li is in her every day, they were also like, also, we don't know why the fuck she's going off for something special for the first time. This movie had nothing. I wrote down, this is like the Eat, Pray, Love version of Batman's origin. So remember when Gin is like, listen, the reason I brought you to Bangkok is because you're the only one who can get your father back, right? Why?
Why?
No, really. Like, do you have an answer for that at all?
No.
Fair, I didn't think so. That's okay.
What I want to know is why Gen, like, you know how everyone's like, the mark of the spider?
Yes,
like,
yes.
Okay, the mark of the spider, the web, right?
Yeah.
That's like to infer that like Gen's network is like all powerful in Bangkok, and it's like the network of the people.
Yeah.
But I went back and watched it. Every time we saw this person with the spider mark, it was just Robin Shou again. They just like covered his face. Like he like purposely got his ass beat so that Chun Li could just go, I have to help him.
Well, why? Why did he let his ass get beat? Why? There's so many questions. Like, he says, you're the only one to get your father back. How come? Like, okay, why is the Spider Order just now contacting her? Why did he remember she got to Bangkok and it took her like weeks to find this motherfucker? Why?
To go along with that, to add to that, when she finally finds him, she questions everything he says and is defiant for no reason. If you sold all your worldly possessions to find a master person named Gen, and you finally find him, the last thing you want to do is be like, I don't believe you. I don't trust you. You have no other person to trust, my dude. You just changed your entire life to find the truth about what happened to your father and hopefully save him. And it's all you have. You lost your mom. Like, don't be rude to Gen. It makes no sense. Why are you questioning him? You just became a hermit in the streets and he saved your life when you got knocked out. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's just very, very conflicting data.
I got another one for you.
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember why Shadaloo kidnapped Chun Li's father?
Yes.
Why?
Apparently, he is a very well-connected businessman.
Exactly.
Who is the network for Bison's territorial infrastructure.
Right. Like, he's got all the good connections and he can make connections. They kept saying that. But I'm like, what kind of connections can you get from someone who's like gone on record as having been kidnapped 10 years ago?
Yeah, even if you're in a criminal, if you're like in a crime syndicate, right? And you realize that like he's been kidnapped, you're going to use his connections to manipulate your business. But in doing so, people are going to go, hey, haven't you been kidnapped for 10 years?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, like
it's like, dude, what's your fucking... This makes no... Like, they could have made up so many reasons for why they'd want to kidnap this guy. They didn't even try that. It's like his connections. Like, you can't have connections from a motherfucker that's missing. You can't cite that dude on your resume anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down, holy shit, Bison beat a woman to death. That was incredible. Did you remember that?
Oh, man. Yeah.
They throw it away.
They throw it. Not only do they throw it away, but like he's hitting her like a punching bag.
Yeah.
And Michael Clarke Duncan is like also like next to him, like, yeah, man, I hit the gym every day too. And that cracked my shit up because like there's a dead woman hanging here, and Bison's like, I did this. I'm so sorry, but I don't care. And Michael Clarke Duncan's like, yeah, is the plan gonna work now? I don't care. I'm just getting my sweat in. It's like,
I think, that was the most chilling scene in the movie to me. Like, it was the most effective scene in the movie, maybe, to establish how cold Bison is. Because it's like one of his lieutenants that failed him the night before, this lady. And like, you see him like beating the shit out of something, and then they slowly pan out and you realize he's beating the shit out of this woman. And she doesn't say anything. They don't even show a close-up of her. Like, she's dead, guy. They treat her like nothing, kind of like how Bison treats her. And I'm like, wow, that was legitimately effective.
And we only know that she's dead because Bison talks about her in the past tense. And I'm like, I had to watch that scene twice because in the scene before she was fighting Chun Li. So like, I sat there and was just like, wait, is she dead?
Gone.
And I went back and watched it, and even Michael Clarke Duncan's like, yeah, well, that doesn't solve our problem. We still have to deal with this now. And it's like, wow, that lady character to me had the potential to be one of the most interesting, especially because like she had the hots for Chun Li, and like they were going to like hook up in the bathroom, kind of. Ooh, the bathroom scene.
Fuck
Brett,
that
I have
scene.
a question.
I hate that scene so much.
The bathroom scene.
Yeah.
Please tell me that you noticed that when they're in the okay, first off, the bathroom stalls are not glass.
Okay.
I watched that scene so many times. The bathroom stalls, the doors to the bathroom stalls are not made of glass.
Okay.
When they're fighting, she opens the stall. Chun-Li is not there. She looks up. Chun-Li is jumping over the stall. They start fighting. Hits her through the door.
Yeah.
And the door shatters like glass. The door does not have glass, but shatters like glass, and glass is everywhere.
Really? Or maybe was the glass from the wash basin on the sink?
No. It is clear like it was like maybe it was just the way the lighting was, but it looked like teal linoleum doors, and then like they were all the stalls that way, and then that one particular shot, that one particular door, when she gets hit through it, shatters into pieces like glass.
That's one of the techniques Gin taught her was to transmute things into glass. You weren't paying attention, Jerome.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's actually where most of the energy ball is. It's like the glass coming together.
It changes things to glass.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, how did the bad guys know that Chun-Li was at Gin's place? And then I wrote, how the fuck did they even know where Gin lived? Remember they blew up his place with a fucking rocket? How did they know where Gin lived? How did they know she was there?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. And then in the next scene, they hire Vega, played by Black Eyed Peas' Taboo, oh Lord, to go kill Chun-Li. But like, didn't they assume she was dead from the RPG?
That was Taboo,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
that was Taboo. But like, why would they hire Vega to kill Chun-Li if the very previous scene was like, we put a rocket up their ass? Why would they do that? Why did Gin fake his death? Why did he do that? He like supposedly dies from the rocket. Fucking 20 minutes later, he finds Chun-Li in an alley hurt. She's like, you're alive. He never explains like why he just didn't contact her.
We must go quickly.
Oh. And my last questions are like, all right, so the whole thing about Bison is he wants his spoilers, sorry guys. Whole thing about Bison is that he wants his fucking daughter. He's trying to find his fucking daughter, who apparently is in another country. The White Rose. And it's really important to him. And I'm like, okay, if it was so important, like, why did he like? Why? How did she get away from him? Like, what? Why did he let her go in the first place?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a few more.
Yeah.
I have a few more questions.
Hit me.
Questions about okay, M. Bison.
Yeah.
Bison.
Yeah.
Bison does not have powers. He's just a strong, poor man.
Okay, slow down, because this movie very much implies that this motherfucker has powers. Because when he like rushes on people, there's like wind and shit. You know?
So there are sound effects to imply that he is supernatural.
Right.
Like he has some kind of powers. And we are to assume that he got these powers by sacrificing his own consciousness.
No, his conscience
into his daughter.
Correct.
And
the good parts of his soul, it's basically fucking Kami and King Piccolo. Like the good parts of his soul he puts into his daughter. His like unborn daughter.
And he does so by taking his two hands and like reaching through his wife's stomach and pulling the baby out.
Yeah.
Killing his wife.
Yeah.
There is no explanation as to what this does. And to go along with this, why in this moment do we then understand that she's been moved away from Bison?
Yeah, I don't know. Like if he why does he want her back in the first place? Like
why does he want her back in the first place? What changed? What did he mourn? Did killing all these people make him realize that he wants to be a good dad all of a sudden?
Right.
He built up the empire to for her and wants to give it to her.
Right, good
Why?
question.
Like she's like also being shipped into Bangkok in a crate.
Right, like in a shipping container.
What?
Also,
Why?
was it to me or was like there no one else on that ship she was on? Like, is she alone on that ship?
Literally, she was like treated as cargo.
Right.
Like she is treated as a captive prisoner. But her dad is the most powerful man in the world.
Right.
Now that he's the Shadaloo leader. Like it. Why?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the biggest question. That's the theme of this episode is why?
There was one fight scene that I played back several times because I didn't understand what I was seeing. When she's in the alley, when Chun-Li's in the alleyway to fight the muggers who are beating up the old cook, right?
Yeah.
And then she gets knocked out and Gen picks her up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot where a dude has a shovel and the other guy has the pole, and they're like swinging at the same time. And the shot one is like you see the perspective of the pipe and the shovel like doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little shot of Chun-Li protecting herself, like, I'm gonna get hit. And then the next shot is her perfectly jumping in between both the pole and the shovel.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The physics of that shot. I'm not trying to get like nitty gritty on this.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not trying to be petty about it. What I'm getting at is the act. What was the point? What in these action moments? There's a lot of moments like that exist in these fight scenes throughout the film that I don't understand what they're trying to elicit, because from the very beginning, it is well established that Chun-Li is better than everyone in Bangkok.
Yeah.
It's like if Gen, the former best friend of Bison / like creator of the Chi, can destroy everyone, then like Chun-Li can do it too, only now she can glow with a ball in her hands.
Yeah. I think why is definitely the main question here, man. I'm sorry that I made us watch this, because somebody like the people who picked this were like, you should watch Street Fighter the movie. And I was like, man, I've seen that movie fucking 90 times. Let's watch the one we haven't seen. This is my fault.
Well, I have to ask you the lore questions, Brett. I have lore questions for
Let's
you.
make it quick. Let's make it quick.
Or rather, why? More whys. More why questions.
All right.
So, at the beginning of this film makes a big deal that Capcom is officially a producer and sponsor of this movie.
Right.
I'm not trying to make fun of Capcom, but to give you an idea, this budget of this movie was $18 million.
Oh, boy. Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah. With $18 million, you and I could do a whole lot of good.
Yeah.
So Capcom has official Street Fighter title work being from the game in the movie. They have all these official characters. You've got Vega, you've got Bison, you've got Balrog. Shadaloo or Shadaloo?
Yeah,
where are we on that?
I don't fucking know. I've heard it in the past be called and spelled Shadaloo. Of course, that's the one I know. I've heard it being called and spelled Shadalaw, Law. Never in my life have I seen it spelled Shadaloo and then called Shadaloo in the same medium. Very strange.
In Street Fighter V, I have not played the story mode, but they have to reference Shadaloo at some point, right?
Yeah.
In somewhere.
Yeah.
And they pronounce it as Shadaloo?
Shadaloo, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, canonically speaking, Capcom of America will say that Shadaloo is Shadaloo, not Shadaloo. Right?
Maybe. I don't know.
We take that in consideration with Street Fighter 4 and apply it to this movie because they're released at the same time. Now, the ongoing debate, the very end of the film, Gen's like, you should join this tournament. It's the Street Fighter tournament with a horrible poster.
Yeah.
Literally, it's Robin looking at the camera, giving the biggest of like gamer hard-on winks to the camera,
right,
and saying, "There's someone from Japan named Ryu. I don't know,
right?
Ryu something,
right?"
And it's like, okay, if you are a Capcom executive and you are putting in money and you're supposed to participate in this process. I know there's litigations. I know there's people who get to say creative and stuff, but if you pronounced Mario in an official Nintendo product, they would murder you. If you say Pikachu's Pikachu, Pokemon Company would bury your body.
You have to understand, man, that even in this day and age, there are still a lot of motherfuckers out there who say that dude's name is Ryu.
Right.
You know?
And I'm fine with that. I was the guy that said Ryu for years. You know what changed my patterns of saying Ryu? The source material acknowledges what it is. Like, I love saying Secret of Mana, even though I know it's Secret of Mana, because that's just how I grew up. But when you play the games, you play other things, you hear people voice act, you have localization teams who are confirming it's Mana, not Mana. In this case, it's Ryu, not Ryu.
So when it comes down to the pronunciation of a character's name that's not even in the movie, like, that's the, they're definitely not going to worry about that if they didn't even worry about, you know, actual plot
Shadaloo?
points. Yeah.
Shadaloo, though? Like,
right.
That's what I'm saying, is that if you are in... this is supposed to be a celebration and return to glory of Street Fighter 4 and the Street Fighter franchise. If you're Capcom and you're putting your chips into this, wouldn't you want to feel like you've got some semblance of control of what you're building? Because you just had a movie 15 years prior with Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile and Gulia as Bison. Like, you would have learned from your mistakes of...
Look, as somebody who's tried to, like,
incorporation.
Work with Capcom in the past on stuff like this, those motherfuckers...
You officially were with Capcom on your film stuff?
Oh, no. But I tried to. Like, we tried to. Like, it's very clear that over there, those dudes... Like, it's the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing over there.
Okay.
So, like, I'm not surprised by the situation at all. You understand what I'm saying?
I guess brand synergy is very important to me if you're going to be making a movie like this. Colloquial things like, you know, Mario versus Mario, I get it, but, like, you know, this is a bit over. It's just weird to me because you're putting your chips in, you're doubling down. It should work. We're running out of time.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me every bit of how you're feeling.
I hate this movie. I never want to see it again. I hope I wasn't too negative. Man, I really hope. I would love if we got some really good narrative work from Capcom properties in the future, considering how much I love that franchise. I doubt it, but you can always stream.
So, Brett, we talked a lot about what bothered us in the movie. What's one thing that made you as closest to happy that you could feel?
Chris Klein. Chris Klein was he was terrible in the movie, but he was so terrible that he made me laugh. What do you say? Charlie Nash, Interpol, hold your fire. I'm like, he would dip in and out of an accent sometimes. Like, where the fuck are you from? Charlie Nash, Interpol, hold your fire. Incredible. Go watch Chris Klein. Just do. It's got to be a supercut. There's got to be a compilation of Chris. Is that his name, Chris Klein?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There's got to be a compilation of him on YouTube of his part in that movie. Go check it out, you guys. It's great. Jirard, your final thoughts.
I think that Capcom should have given you the budget to make this movie.
Thank you. So Capcom, give me $18 million.
This film made $12.8 million.
That's
it was
a lot.
A flop. it was a flop though.
Yeah.
That's not encountering your budgeting or your marketing stuff. Like, it did not do great. The thing that surprised me the most about this film, for better or for worse, the thing that I walked away feeling, how did a modern film in 2009 feel like a relic of the early 90s? The movie felt like someone found a film in the 90s and turned it into widescreen, and we just accepted it. Like, when you make movies in certain periods and eras, like, this is supposed to be a modern film. It takes place in the current day of the year 2008, 2009, right? That's kind of the idea. But it feels like 1990. And I don't know if it's the aesthetics. I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it's the directing and the camera work and the cinematography or even the acting. but it feels like we found a film from 20 years ago and just were like, let's release it as it was and accept it for what it is.
Maybe the next Street Fighter movie we get will feel like it's from today. Like when we get another Street Fighter movie 10 years from now, maybe it'll feel like it was made today, you know?
I mean, I'm curious, Brett, have you watched any of the other like live action Street Fighter things that were like kind of authorized by Capcom?
Yeah, I've seen clips here and there. Yeah.
I mean, and I've seen the Mortal Kombat ones for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 2 different live action web series about Mortal Kombat. But what is your like? Let's end on this note because everyone, you know, before we give our ratings, how do you tell a story in this world? You've done it twice before, beautifully, I might add. And if I had all the money in the world, I would trust you to make these movies.
Okay.
How do you make something like The Legend of Chun Li work? Tell me your in a few sentences or less, whatever you decide. How do you, Brett Bayonne, make The Legend of Chun Li?
First of all, I wouldn't. First of all, I wouldn't focus on Chun Li as a character, because like if we had like other Street Fighter movies out there already, then sure, I would.
Sure.
But if I had to make a Street Fighter movie, I would, you know, just don't like, you know, make people care, dude. Like make people feel something is what I come back to. And I think there's definitely ways to do that. And this movie didn't do it. Yeah, make people care. Don't, you know, stop thinking about it as an action movie. Stop thinking about it as a Street Fighter movie. Just think about it as a story. Make people care first and the rest will fall into place, you know? It's a lot harder to make people care than it is to make people feel excited. Making people feel excited is fleeting, and I think it's a lot easier to do. And I think it's fine, but to make them care, I think it's harder, but I think it's more worthwhile, regardless of the property, you know?
Yeah.
It's Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun Li. I really hope we watch something better next time. I really do.
What's your rating, Brett?
0 stars.
I am also 0 stars.
I'm going to go home now.
We can all go home now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, man, what a shit show.
Oh! You won't go waggity sex no more. Waggity sex.
Kill that man.
No,
Why not?
You
I can
won't
just
go
take an
waggity sex
elevator.
no more. Waggity sex.
used to be wackety sax.
Waggity sex. Waggity sex.